SLT Mobitel Fiber, the fiber of the nation. SLT Mobitel Fiber, the fiber of the nation.
Tomex Pellam sa විසබීජ අවම කර දින 3ක් දක්වා ටොයිලට් එක ෆ්‍රෙෂ්ව තමයි. Tomex.
Tonight, up in the air, the central bank refuses to confirm or deny rumours of an imminent fuel price hike in the offing. Revamp it. The education minister calls for Sri Lanka's English language education levels to be brought up to par.
We lack English education in our universities, as well as we have to make further inroads and development in this area.
Fishy reasons. The Government Medical Officers Association set to launch an island-wide strike action that health authorities label suspicious. Red-handed. The Navy's ramped-up anti-poaching operation nets 2 more Indian boats and 12 crew. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Monday, the 20th of December, 2021.
Fair and Lovely will alut nama then Glow and Lovely. Fair and Lovely then Glow and Lovely.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, welcome to First at 9. I'm Hamke Kanai. Now then, the central bank today neither confirmed nor denied that Governor Ajit Nimad Cabral sent a letter to the Minister of Finance calling for a fuel price hike. With rumours also in circulation of a fuel shortage in the island, Minister of Power Uday Gammampila, however, moved to assure the people that such an eventuality will not materialise. He says that there are sufficient fuel reserves in the island to last until mid-January next year.
It has been reported that Governor of the Central Bank, Ajit Nimad Cabral, has written to Minister of Finance Basil Rajapaksa on raising the prices of fuel. The central bank governor had pointed out that importing petroleum to the country further deepens Sri Lanka's forex crisis and that the prices of petrol and diesel must be hiked. Accordingly, it has been proposed that the price of a litre of petrol should be raised by 35 rupees, a litre of diesel by 24 rupees, and a litre of kerosene by 11 rupees. In light of this development, when AdaDerana spoke to the central bank to get confirmation on the matter, officials at the CBSL neither denied or confirmed the news. Further, AdaDerana also spoke to Minister of Power Uday Gammampila in order to verify the rumour currently in circulation that the country's fuel reserves would only last for 10 more days. In response, the minister said that the country's fuel reserves would last until the 18th of January next year. Minister Gammampila added that even though there is a problem in opening the relevant letters of credit, there is no need to worry about a fuel shortage, as 4 of the 5 fuel tankers are scheduled to arrive in the country every week.
Minister of Education Dinesh Gunawardena says that Sri Lanka needs to revamp its English education system to cater to the growing needs of today's modern development goals. The minister highlighted this during a visit to the University of Peradeniya yesterday, where he also called on universities to foster more private sector research partnerships that could pave the way for more homegrown solutions for future challenges.
Minister of Education Dinesh Gunawardena embarked on an inspection tour of the University of Peradeniya yesterday. During his visit, the minister announced plans to enroll an additional 10,000 students into the country's universities through a special presidential program that is currently underway. The minister also announced that applications for Grade 1 admissions are currently being called for, while the enrollment procedure is currently processing. With regard to the Christmas holidays, the minister announced that schools will remain closed from the 23rd of December 2021 to the 3rd of January 2022. The minister also announced that scheduled dates for the 2021 Grade 5 Scholarship, Advanced Level and Ordinary Level exams. Accordingly, the Grade 5 Scholarship exam will be held from the 22nd of January, the GC Advanced Level exam from the 7th of February to the 5th of March, and the GC Ordinary Level exam from the 23rd of May to the 1st of June 2022. Addressing the Senate during his visit yesterday, the Education Minister also touched on the importance of universities entering into tie-ups with both private and public sector for joint research projects that he says could help the country face down future challenges.
The demand of our national economy and our new development programs over the years have expanded. New challenges have set in. So the responsibility lies in the universities, I feel, for research and development. The private sector has also now advanced in our economy, plays a very important role. But the understanding that a university's system would have joint ventures, joint research, joint understanding with the private sector is very important, not only with the private sector, and even with the state sector, which could play a role, is very important.
The minister also took the opportunity to highlight what he called Sri Lanka's failing English education system, saying that it has not been able to cater to the demands of today.
I just now came with Professor Bandara from the College of Education. What I mentioned was that we lack English education in our universities as well as to our schools. We have absorbed 51,000 graduates. I guess all the graduates from your university would have got absorbed in this under the President's new program. We are planning to absorb about 24,000 into the education system, teacher education. We have to make further inroads and development in this area. English language is an essential part in our future development, for which AdaDerana can play a very important role. Today we don't have translators in our court system. Most of them have retired and gone, the educated, the qualified, the trained. We are not kept to the demands of the country.
Sri Lanka has been doing rather well in its booster dose rollout so far, as over 2.5 million people have received the jab. But health authorities are not satisfied with the enthusiasm shown by the over 60s age group, noting that only 25% of them have received the booster dose to date.
On the 26th of November, the presence of Omicron, the latest COVID variant of concern, was first announced. In the 25 days that have gone by, information about the new variant is still cloudy. There is speculation that Omicron is far more transmissible than any other COVID variants to have been found to date, with early studies showing that the new variant could also evade natural and vaccine immunity given by the two-dose regime. According to the World Health Organization, 89 countries have confirmed the presence of Omicron so far, and its spreading to other countries is not a matter of if, but when. It also says that Omicron infections in the world are doubling in numbers every 1.5 to 3 days. The WHO is now warning that the substantial growth advantage that Omicron has over the Delta variant means it could soon overtake Delta as the dominant variant. As it was the case with Delta, the sure way to combat Omicron is also vaccination and adherence to health guidelines. Though there are various speculations over the severity of the new variant, global data over the past 3 weeks have shown that there hadn't been any severe cases of Omicron in that time. But the WHO is cautioning the world not to let the number of infections to get out of hand, as overwhelmed health systems will have major repercussions even if Omicron's severity is on the low side. The relatively mild symptoms of Omicron is also explained by global vaccination efforts and the natural immunity the global populace may have developed as a result of enduring multiple waves of COVID. But the new variant is still capable of causing death. 12 people have so far succumbed to Omicron, all of them in the UK. A booster dose is expected to keep the eventuality of death at bay to a great extent and is the global recommendation. In Sri Lanka, 2,505,477 booster doses have been administered in the island so far, with the daily number of boosters given rising sharply over the past week. But health experts have observed a lack of enthusiasm for the booster among a particular age group.
We have seen very few numbers turning up to get this vaccine. We have seen that only 25% so far of the population over 60 have turned up for the vaccine. So why is it? It's because there is a fear among the elderly about the vaccine. There's a fear about the quality of the vaccine. There's a fear about side effects of the vaccine. But very rarely we see side effects of the vaccine. Why do we ask the elderly population to get the vaccine? Because we know that the elderly tend to have multiple diseases. Some people do have multiple diseases, and then they are more vulnerable to the COVID virus. Therefore, it is very important for this population to get the vaccine. And also, they have hypertension, diabetes, and other diseases. So when they have these diseases, it is better that they get more protection with the booster vaccine.
The vaccination, however, is not as straightforward, as in some cases, it has become an issue concerning an individual's rights. For the moment, vaccination isn't mandatory, and the debate rages on whether unvaccinated people can jeopardize the health of others by exercising their own rights. Can the will of a few outweigh the safety of many? The Ministry of Health, however, said that the health of the masses cannot be put at the risk of the minority of unvaccinated people. They have decided to keep unvaccinated people away from public places by making it mandatory for people to carry their vaccine cards with them when entering such places. Today, the Health Ministry gave an update on the matter.
Ministry of Health is in the process of developing the relevant procedures related to this, and it will take time, and there are so many practical and logistics problems that need to be addressed, and after addressing those issues only this can be fully implemented. However, I would like to emphasize that those who are not vaccinated are at risk of getting the disease and at risk of getting complications. So therefore, they should protect themselves by refraining from going into public places where the risk of disease contracting is high. Therefore, they should, if wherever possible, they should refrain from going into public place. Most important thing is there cannot be people who have not got the vaccination, because the vaccine is safe, vaccine is available, and there are no complications, and therefore what is important is everyone should get the vaccine, and without waiting for rules and regulations. If we can act in a responsible manner, we will be able to prevent any adverse outcomes.
According to the Ministry of Health, 63% of the island's total population has been fully immunized so far with 2 doses. China-manufactured Sinopharm is the most widely used jab in the island in the fight against COVID. By last evening, 22,939,890 doses of it had been administered. The World Health Organization's recommendation is that an mRNA vaccine be used as a booster, which Sinopharm isn't. Sri Lanka is using Pfizer in the booster rollout, but China hasn't given up in coming with their own booster dose. But they have suffered an early setback. Chinese researchers say that a COVID-19 booster shot produced by Sinopharm had significantly lower neutralizing activity against the Omicron variant. However, the researchers caution that this doesn't reflect how this could prevent people from the disease, as neutralization is just one part of the immunity.
The Government Medical Officers Association is set to launch an island-wide strike tomorrow, expanding their trade union action of today, which was only worked off in 5 districts. The GMOA looks to be at loggerheads with the Deputy Director General of Health Services in charge of overseeing post-internship appointments, accusing him of making arbitrary decisions. The Health Administration, however, is questioning the GMOA's motives.
The Government Medical Officers Association launched a 24-hour strike at 8 this morning in 5 districts, crippling health services. The trade union action was launched in a protest of alleged arbitrary post-internship appointments. The GMOA directed their scorn at the Deputy Director General of Health Services in charge of the relevant task. They say that post-internship appointments should be made via a transfer board, giving transparency to the process. In any case, representatives of the Government Medical Officers Association went on strike in the districts of Mana, Trincomalee, Ratnapura, Nuwara and Polonnaruwa. People had come from miles away at some hospitals only to be turned around. While some people lamented the severe inconvenience, others simply cursed the move. However, addressing a media briefing today, the GMOA revealed their plans to expand the strike.
දිස්ත්‍රික්ක පහක අද දිනේ පටන් ගත්ත වෛද්‍ය වැඩවර්ජනයක් වෛද්‍ය සානමාරු අත්නෝමතික ලෙස සිදු කරන එකට නියෝජ්‍ය සෞඛ්‍ය සේවා අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජෙනරාල්තුමාට අවශ්‍ය ලයිස්තුව තමයි හදලා තියෙන්නේ. හෙට උදෑසන 8 සිට ලංකාව පුරා දීප ව්‍යාප්ත වෛද්‍ය වැඩවර්ජනයක් පටන් ගන්න තීරණය කරනු ලැබුවා. එෙහිදී සියලුම අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා සහ හදිසි ප්‍රතිකාරකම කිසිදු බාධාවකින් තොරව පවත්වාගෙන යනවා. ඒ වගේම ළමා රෝහල්, කාන්තා රෝහල් සහ පිළිකා රෝහල් වකුගඩු ඒකකවල කටයුතු බාධාවකින් තොරව පවත්වාගෙන යනු ලබනවා. අනිකුත් සේවාවන් වල බිඳවැටීමක් සිදු වෙවි ලංකාව පුරා. එහි වගකීම වර්තමාන සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරයාත් එහි ලේකම්වරයා සහ සෞඛ්‍ය සේවා අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජෙනරාල්තුමා ඇතුළු පිරිස බාරගත යුතුයි.
However, Deputy Director General of Health Services Specialist Dr. G. Vijay Surya is skeptical of the GMOA's motive behind the strike, noting that post-internship appointments are made by the establishment code and not through a transfer board.
නවක වෛද්‍යවරුන්ට පත්තින් ලබා දීමේදී කිසිම ආකාරයකට සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යතුමාටවත් සෞඛ්‍ය ලේකම්තුමාටවත් කිසි බලපෑම් සිදු කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ. ඒක ලබා දී යුත්තේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පුරපාරු ලේඛනයට අනුව තමයි සහ සේවා අවශ්‍යතාවය දැඩි ලෙස තියෙන ස්ථාන හඳුනාගෙන ඒ අනුව තමයි මේ පත්තින් ලබා දීමට හැකියාවක් තියෙන්නේ. මේ පුරපාරු ලේඛනය තමයි මෙතනින් පෙන්වන්නේ. මේ ලේඛනයට රජයේ වෛද්‍යවරුන්ගේ සංගමය නියෝජනය කරමින් අදාළ නියෝජිත වෛද්‍යවරයා මෙතන අත්සන් කරලා තියෙනවා මේ රජයේ වෛද්‍ය නිලධාරී සංගමයේ. ඉතින් මේ පුරපාරු ලේඛන වචන වලට අනුව තමයි අපි පත්යෙන් ලබා දීලා තියෙන්නේ. වැඩ වර්ජනයට යොමු වෙන තරම් වරදක් සිදු වෙලා නැහැ. එවැනි අවස්ථාවකින් කටයුතු කරනවා නම් අපිට තීරණය කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මේක කඩාකප්පල්කාරී ක්‍රියාවක් කියන එක පමණයි.
We will see you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Big 3.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the United States Senate has approved President Joe Biden's nomination of State Department veteran Julie Chung as his next ambassador to Colombo. Ambassador-designate Chung has served in a host of U.S. diplomatic missions throughout her career and has pledged to work tirelessly to advocate for quality infrastructure and investment based on transparency, respect for international law and good governance in Sri Lanka.
The U.S. Senate has approved the nomination of Julie Chung to be the next U.S. ambassador to Sri Lanka. Chung's nomination was submitted in June this year as former Ambassador Elina B. Teplitz's tenure in the island was coming to an end. With that, on Saturday, the Senate approved Chung's nomination in addition to a host of others for U.S. overseas diplomatic posts. 49-year-old Chung previously held the post of Acting Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs. She has also served as Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy in Cambodia and as Economic Counselor to the U.S. Embassy in Thailand. Chung was also the Chief of Staff to the Transition Coordinator at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq and has also served at U.S. embassies in Colombia, Vietnam and Japan and the U.S. Consulate General in Guangzhou, China. During a congressional hearing in October, Chung told members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that Sri Lanka was positioned in a strategic location at the heart of the Indian Ocean and its critical ports, with access to global maritime lanes and trading routes that play a pivotal role in a free and open Indo-Pacific architecture. She added that this reinforces the urgent necessity for the United States to build constructive relationships with Sri Lanka, including with civil society, the private sector, and the Sri Lankan people. Chung also told lawmakers that if confirmed, she would work tirelessly to advocate for quality infrastructure and investment based on transparency, respect for international law and good governance, which is mindful of sustainable environmental and labour standards.
2 more Indian fishing vessels were intercepted by the Sri Lanka Navy yesterday during a special operation launched to combat the surge in illegal poaching in Sri Lankan waters. The 2 boats and their 12 crew were detained in the seas south of Mannar and will be handed over for processing to the police after rapid antigen tests are completed.
The Sri Lankan Navy nabbed 2 more Indian fishing boats found poaching in Sri Lankan waters off the coast of Mannar yesterday. Navy sources revealed that 12 crewmen were taken into custody during what they said was a special operation that was launched. The operation targeted the seas south of Mannar using inshore patrol craft attached to the North Central Naval Command. A total of 8 Indian fishing trawlers and 55 fishermen have been intercepted in the operation so far in the past 2 days. Sri Lanka's northern and eastern fisher communities have been facing a surge in encroaching Indian vessels that have been quite brazenly poaching in Sri Lankan waters in the past several months. In the past months, local fishermen have been reporting increasingly violent behavior by their Indian counterparts, including physical assaults and damaging of local vessels and equipment. The Navy says that after rapid antigen tests are carried out on them, the arrested fishermen are set to be handed over to the authorities for legal action to be instigated. The Navy's new crackdown on Indian vessels, for all intents and purposes, looks to be just what Sri Lanka's fisher communities have been asking for. However, it remains to be seen whether the Navy gets the material and political support to bring about a much-needed change in how Sri Lanka's territorial waters are policed.
The Sri Lanka Air Force has handed over a MiG-27 ground attack aircraft to the Morato University's Faculty of Mechanical Engineering Aeronautical Engineering Unit. The jet was handed over to the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Senior Professor Niranjan Gunawardena, by Air Force Commander Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana today. The aircraft, that has been retired from operational service, will be used to train the university's budding aeronautical engineers in the workings of a completely new type of aircraft that they have been previously used to. Further, a memorandum of understanding was signed between Air Force and the university for knowledge sharing in aeronautical engineering. In addition, Air Force has also pledged to construct a fully fledged aeronautical engineering laboratory for the department so that its students can gain a more hands-on experience in their field of study. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now then, the merchandise trade deficit had continued the declining trend witnessed since May this year and has further slipped to $495 million in October. However, the central bank says that the import expenditure has recorded a year-on-year growth in the month.
The deficit in the trade account in October this year narrowed to $495 million compared to the deficit of $509 million in October 2020 and the same level recorded in September 2021. The cumulative deficit in the trade account widened during January to October 2021 to $6,498 million from $4,846 million to the corresponding period of 2020. Fuel, textile and textile articles as well as machinery equipment imports have increased amongst other things between January to October period this year. On the exports front, earning in October 2021 grew by 40.4% over October 2020 to reach $1,200 million, surpassing the previous maximum of $1,137 million recorded in March 2019. Increases in earnings were observed in agricultural and industrial exports, while a marginal decline was recorded in mineral exports. Cumulative export earnings, which increased by 22.1% during January to October 2021, amounted to $10,134 million compared to $8,299 million recorded in the corresponding period in 2020. Meanwhile, earnings from the export of industrial goods increased by 49.3% in October 2021 compared to October last year. Substantial increases in earnings had been recorded in major export segments such as garments, food, beverages and tobacco, transport equipment, machinery and mechanical appliances, petroleum products and rubber products, while a decline in earnings was reported in the category of plastics and articles. As for import expenditure on merchandise increased by 24.3% to $1,694 million in October this year compared to $1,363 million recorded in October 2020. An increase in import expenditure was observed in intermediate goods and investment goods, while a decline was observed in consumer goods. On a cumulative basis, total import expenditure from January to October 2021 amounted to $16,632 million compared to $13,145 million recorded in the corresponding period of last year. Workers' remittance, meanwhile, had declined in October 2021 compared to a year earlier. Workers' remittances amounted to $317 million during October this year, in comparison to $631 million in the same month last year. On a cumulative basis, workers' remittances during January to October 2021 amounted to $4,895 million, which the central bank says is a decline of 13.8% over the same period in the previous year.
Today we saw a bit of a decline in the market with the selling pressure that has got created after significant gains in the index. So the index has been peaking at the 11,700 to 11,800 mark and has been there for a few days, and we are seeing a bit of selling pressure now coming into the market, and with it today we are seeing about 103 point decline in the market. If you take the S&P SL20 also we are seeing a 62 point decline, so a sizably large decline specifically into the blue chip counters led by the LOLC group. And also take the turnover levels, we are seeing about 5.4 billion rupees of turnover, slightly onto the lower side.
The COVID-19 pandemic effect this year has been somewhat severe in terms of the economic and social loss to the people, not only in Sri Lanka, but in the rest of the world as well. However, with 2021 about to come to a close, the countdown for Christmas has begun once more, and with that, we once again bring you our special segment, The Message of Hope.
All of us are getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest events in the history of humanity, that is the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are getting ready to celebrate Christmas. But still, when I ask many of my friends, Corona has truly disturbed our peace of mind. Economic recession, it has disturbed peaceful celebration. And we are disappointed with so many things that are happening around us. How can we celebrate? This is the question many ask me today. My dear brothers and sisters, we can celebrate the Christmas celebration in a joyful way if we know the real meaning of Christmas. We have to empty ourselves like Mother Mary. Mother Mary emptied herself and the grace of God filled her. It is true, my mind and my heart are filled with so much of worries, frustrations, disappointments, sometimes anger, revenge, rivalry. Now this season invites you and me, my dear brothers, to throw off all this rubbish from our hearts and minds. If I throw away all this rubbish from my mind and my heart, surely grace of God will fill my mind and my heart. Once the grace of God fills our hearts and our minds, I am sure we can enjoy the celebration. So what we have to do now, don't worry about the external celebrations, external things, but rather keep your heart empty, free from all worries, disappointments, frustrations, anger, and enmity. Instead, let us allow God to fill our hearts. That would become a real celebration of Christmas where we enjoy the fullness of God's grace. Wish you all a very, very happy Christmas.
And that's it from all of us here at First at Night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.